I found a wonderful Persian rug in the antique market the other day. Mr. Jackson needs a copy of the report first thing Monday morning. Helen and George are expecting twins at the end of winter. My son wants to become a doctor when he's older. The computer course consists of 10 two-hour lessons over 6 months. The lecture was so boring that I had a very difficult time paying attention and almost fell asleep. Authorities are investigating the cause of the fire. This shop has everything ranging from exotic species to designer clothes. He was limited to the amount of money he could spend on holiday. Please, for once in your life, try not to be late tomorrow. Of course I recognize you. We went to school together, didn't we? His lack of confidence resulted in him not getting the job. I heard a loud bang, and the next thing I knew, police were everywhere. Please remind me to cancel my dentist appointment on Tuesday. We would have never guessed who had committed the crime. I called a plumber to get an estimate on how much a new shower would cost. The Smiths have their piano tuned on a regular basis. She cut the cake into 8 portions after she had blown out the candles. Ben has just bought a house, so he can't afford to go on holiday this year. The company will introduce a new line of cosmetics onto the market this autumn. During a festival, the streets were crowded with people from all over the world. The total amount of money needed for this project is over £1 million. He has a way of looking at life that is very refreshing. James has had an argument with Tina and is not speaking to her. My morning routine never changes. I wake up, take a shower, have a cup of coffee, and go to work. I'll never be able to understand what she saw in him. The hotel provides free accommodation for children under the age of 10. Air pollution has led to an increase in breathing disorders. Sally is so sensitive that she cries whenever she watches a sad film. Don't worry, the instructions are very easy to follow. Even though my grandfather is 87 years old, he's as fit as a fiddle. Don't miss the chance to visit the Museum of Fine Arts when you are in town. How long was it before you noticed that your purse was missing? If you have an alibi, it will prove that you were nowhere near the scene of the crime. Alison spends most of her pocket money on books. Mary set up her own business when she was only 20 years old. The only reason why he survived the crash was because he was wearing his seatbelt. One of the most basic rules of tennis is to always keep your eye on the ball. I'm sorry, but without the receipt, the shop will not be able to give you a refund. The only advantage of living in a flat is that it is cheaper than living in a house. Mrs. James had difficulty in controlling the class, even though she was an experienced teacher. There are many ways in which you can make food tasty and attractive to children. Jim Perkins was considered to be the only suitable candidate for the job. He walked slowly, although he was extremely late for his appointment. Fred is always guaranteed a very warm welcome whenever she visits her cousins. He didn't apply for the job in time, so he missed the deadline. The man was eventually persuaded by the police to come out of his hiding place. For a long time, he's been dogged by bad luck. Your work falls well below the required standard. Jane's intuition told her that something had happened to her twin sister. Everyone's attention was drawn to the noise in the street. You can always be sure of our support, my parents told me when I left home. Many species of fish are in danger of being wiped out by increasing levels of sea pollution. Many people never cease to be amazed by the records athletes set each year. The manager told the workers that he had every confidence in their ability. The school sets a very high standard for all its pupils. This neighborhood looks a little run down these days. Don't you think it would be a good idea to try and work out our problem? The young boy confessed to taking the bicycle. The accountant was asked to go over the document very carefully. their goal had always been to reach the summit of Mount Everest. These workshops are designed to develop listening and speaking skills. Many patients complained that they didn't receive the proper medical treatment they needed. Mary decided to consider the proposal that was put forward to her a few days ago. The police are still investigating the cause of the explosion, which damaged 5 cars. Not only is John a good writer, he's also a good singer. He decided to invest the rest of his money in property. The book discusses how we could be more effective in managing our time. His job involves spending a lot of time traveling. Some companies offer courses as a means of training their staff. She didn't want him to jump to the conclusion that it was all her fault. This amazing collection of poems first saw the light of day in 1980. I started typing my paper, and the next thing I knew, my computer broke down. Franco Corelli became one of the best-known opera singers of his day. She was looking through the mail when the phone rang. Everybody, myself included, had been looking forward to the concert. He works here temporarily, but has plans to eventually open his own business. The cost of airline tickets has gone up by as much as 25% since January. All track events will be held in the new Olympic Stadium. He gained invaluable experience working as a volunteer in Africa. It never ceases to amaze me how babies learn to communicate. Those old buildings are dangerous and should be knocked down. It is a fact that this kind of snakebite rarely proves fatal. Eating a large breakfast allowed her to go without lunch. There's very little chance that he will pass the exam. What she likes most about traveling is meeting new people. What brand of shampoo do you use? Martha asked Jan. Julia shares all the housework with her husband, including the cooking and the ironing. It was such a small car that it could only hold 2 people. When my sister and I were young children, our father used to carry us on his shoulders. Do not miss the opportunity to see Hamlet at the National Theatre. My flight to London was delayed, so I had to hang around the airport for 3 hours. He asked his friends to recommend a good dentist. Becky mentioned something about setting up her own catering company. The police have been trying for months to trace the whereabouts of the kidnapper. The history of the television set goes back more than 50 years. This year's winter fashion appeals to women of all ages. I know for a fact that Pam hates Chinese food. We will process your order before sending the goods. Mira and Matt don't really get on with each other.